Hi, my name is Jason, and today we're going to be looking at the wonderful world of grommets. And as you can see, grommets come in all different shapes and sizes. We have an FOD grommet, liftgate grommet, door grommets, antenna grommets, and even grommets that have plastic overmold and metal inserts. So it is my intention today to basically walk you through the process of the rubber compounding process, how these get molded into grommets, how they're assembled onto harnesses, and then how they are basically assembled into the vehicles. And then we'll even take a look and walk around a vehicle and see if we can spot some of these grommets. So first, what I'd like to do is play a short video of a rubber compounding company and see where our rubber comes from. Thank you. Now that you have seen how rubber is compounded, let's move on over to a grommet supplier and see how they mold this rubber into the grommets that we know and love.
I'm from Michigan. Yeah. I just came. Mind the way. And then they just chop it.
The other challenging aspect of this job is that almost all that geometry is molded in there blind, and in order to get the air out of there, we actually drilled a hole right here, and it's backfilling up out of the cavity right out. And then that also allows us to blow a little bit of air into there and kind of push the part out. It doesn't really do it though, because right here. This is totally inside out, so it's tough to show you. But this whole end right here has to stretch bigger and bigger as it's coming off of the core. The core is. So this very next part, the core is tapered. He's popping that first side off.
Yeah.
He has to do it in a certain fashion. Around that 90-degree. If he doesn't necessarily get. These will pop up.
Oh.
These will come off if he doesn't do it in the right fashion. And then he introduces the air.
That already broke. This one's already ripped.
Inside too, there's like a little tree in there sometimes. Oh, you didn't catch it. Okay. What would be very easier is to run this with loose cores. So the hole opens up, you take the whole assembly out, maybe 2 of them at a time, take the cores, the steel cores out of the parts, put them back into the mold, and then close the mold up and run it again. You don't want to run with loose cores though, because the moment that they put that loose core in there wrong, away from loose cores. Yeah, that would be a breeze to run that. Nothing pulling or yanking. Oh, that's all right. I know they can adjust it.
I mean, this guy's too busy to work for quality. This guy.
Cool. Yeah, that'd have to blend it.
I mean, aside from that, he's not gonna notice the smaller stuff.
12.5% fallout that cycle.
pretty much it.
Before grommets can be used in mass production, they must go through a series of testing to ensure their integrity. So let's take a look at this video and see what kind of testing is used to ensure that grommets will meet the performance when they are installed into a vehicle.
In order to run the water immersion test for the C48X rear door grommet, you need a test plate, stopwatch, water detection paste, and the canister. So first you get your two samples. You have this test plate, it's for min and max. Min and max, of course we're only doing the max, but we have used this as a dummy. So you install these in the testing plate, you put the water detection around the max only because we're only testing the max. And then you need these silicone plugs so you can plug the other side. So I'm going to push this in here to plug it in so no water goes inside. So now we have two plugged. Then you put it inside your testing fixture. And then ours has the clamps here. And then this test is for 150 millimeters water columns. And you need to run it for 30 minutes. And the temperature need to be minus 20 degrees Celsius plus minus 5. So I'm going to turn it over now. And then if water comes down, then that water detection paste will turn into red. And you can see it right here. Thank you.
All right, so this is the DOS test. Basically, this is the DOS that we use. It is based on the ISO standard. So the way this works is that we need to put the dust inside the machine. So this is the area where we put the dust, and these are the nozzles that are going to inject air into the mixture. So we have this container. The idea for this test is that there has to be no dust inside the container. So we close the container. So we put it inside.
Got it?
So we already have the parameters here. We just need to choose the testing.
Is it going?
So it will spray for 6 seconds, then it will stop for 15 minutes, and then it will spray again for 6 seconds, and the total test takes 5 hours.
Oh wow.
It's a peel-off test. So in this testing, what we are trying to make sure is that the grommet, the EPDM component, will not peel off from the retainer. So in this testing, we need to put a weight. So if you see this back below, this is a weight. And then the grommet has to, this table, this moving table, has to move 200 mils. And then there should be no peel off at the end. So let me show you. I will run the test so you can see. Yeah, so at the end of the test, we remove the sample. And we check that the rubber is still attached to the retainer.
And in this case it is.
Yeah, so we built this fixture to test insertion and retention. So this is like an example of a retainer, and we need to measure the insertion force here. So the controller here will measure the peak. So when we press, like in this case was 30 newtons insertion force.
Water here. Lube is better.
Exactamente, que tenga más elongación.
$79.5.
O si no me equivoco, lo haría de entonces como parte del actual, porque la demuestra, bueno, si podemos al menos verla ahorita para.
Alright, now that we have our grommet, let's move on over to a wire harness manufacturing facility and see how exactly they put these grommets onto a harness. There are several different ways that they can be assembled onto a harness, including an expansion machine, or we can use what kind of looks like a shoehorn. It's called like a pipe and tube to help slide the wires through. And some of the grommets also require lubrication to help assist in the expansion process. So basically, let's just take a look at this video and we'll see how they do it.
Sí, así mire. Ya se lo saben, por eso no lo ponen
It's on the body side, right? Was that on the body side? See anything? Take this out.
I-stretch mo ko yan. Yan. Ganyan. O, ikot dahan-dahan. Okay, wait, dahan-dahan na. Oops. Okay, next. I-stretch mo na. Oops, dahan-dahan na. Oops. Okay, lagag mo dito sa atin. Sino yung kamay mo? Wala mo dito.
Uy, mira cómo se friegan los gromes.
Este reventó.
Ya no entra más. Mira.
So as you saw a couple examples on that video, we are expanding our grommets pretty wide. But if you were to take a look at the drawing, there are notes specifying how wide a grommet can be expanded to before it is prone to tearing. And here's an example of a note on a drawing that has the specific dimensions that it is allowed to be expanded to. Alright, so some grommets actually have retainers that get assembled to them after the wiring is fed through the grommet. These retainers will basically function so that the grommet will retain to the sheet metal of the vehicle. This is the FOD grommet again. It also has a retainer that fits on top of the grommet. So after this grommet is expanded, they'll assemble the retainer to it, and then this retainer, once the grommet is installed into the vehicle at the final customer, this will keep the grommet secured to the sheet metal. Now when you look up close at one of these grommets, you'll notice there's a lot of different etchings on them. In this example on the FOD grommet, we have a date grid. This will help with traceability. We have a part number, a cavity number, and the material type. And then we'll take a look at another grommet here. We also have a part number listed on the side here, the material, and the date wheel. And then same with this little grommet here, date grid. So there are a lot of little hidden gems on here. Here's an example of one where it actually says up on the grommet. So that'll assist the operator at the final customer. It'll let them know what direction or orientation this grommet needs to be installed into the vehicle. This next video, I'm going to show you how an FOD grommet is installed into an F-150. It's a pretty interesting process. It's not very easy to do. It's the only video I have of a grommet being installed into a vehicle, but let's take a look and see how they do it. Okay, now that we have our grommet installed into the vehicle, let's go outside and see if we can see where some of these are hiding. Here is an example of a tailgate or a liftgate grommet. The wiring that is routed through here will most likely be for the rear tail lights and probably the wiper. And on the side here, of course, the rear door will have a grommet. For the speakers, power windows, power locks. We also have a front door grommet here as well. Same thing, speakers, power locks, power windows. And as you know, it is very important that the retainers that are on the grommets do their job, because if they do not, as you can see in this example, the retainer is not maintaining to the sheet metal. So this grommet is not seated correctly and is basically just hanging off of here. And with the grommet not seated correctly to the sheet metal, it will allow for dirt or debris or water to get in there and mess with these connections, and that would not be a good thing. So it's definitely important that these are working correctly, and in this case it is not. Here is an example of a grommet for a Dodge Ram passenger side front door, and if you look closely you'll actually see an R on the grommet indicating that it would be for the right side of the vehicle. So if we were to go over and look at the driver's side front door grommet, we should see an L. Let's go take a look. It is kind of hard to see in here, but there is an L right there. So there you have it. The L is on the left side of the vehicle. The L is a little easier to see on the driver's side rear door grommet. Let's go take a look and see if there's an R on the other side. There it is. There's the R. This door harness was assembled correctly to the vehicle. So there you have it. I hope you learned more about grommets than you possibly ever could have imagined. We learned about the rubber compounding process. We learned about how rubber is molded into grommets. We learned about all the testing that is involved. We learned about how grommets are installed onto harnesses. And we learned about how the grommets are installed into the vehicle. So, with that, I'd like to take it back to you, Marty.